All right, literally one of the most important skills in marketing is understanding the difference between channeling demand and creating demand. And in this video, what I want to talk about is how you can align your offer with existing demand to make sure that you're not trying to create it. So a really important concept to understand with this is that in marketing, you can never really truly create demand. And what I mean by that is that almost all demand in the marketplace already exists. So if you think about food, for example, right? People are already hungry, right? People are already walking through, these malls, or they're walking through these places, or they're walking down these high streets where these restaurants exist. People aren't going into, abstract places and trying to create the demand of hunger. Hunger just already exists. Similarly, when it comes to business, whether you're marketing to a relationship-based problem, whether you're marketing to a wealth creation-based problem, a health problem, a lot of the time, demand for solutions already exists. Now, this might be contrary to what maybe you've been taught or maybe what you already understand. A lot of people learn about this concept called the blue ocean. And it's this idea that there are red oceans and blue oceans. And a red ocean is a marketplace where there are lots of sellers. There's these sharks that are chunking down on these, customers in the water. So the water is all red because of the fact that there's a lot of people who are selling and a lot of people that are buying. And then a lot of people in this blue ocean theory say what you need to do is come out into a separate sort of niche, and you need to create something that's unique from the red ocean so that you're in a market of one instead of a market of, hundreds. Now, that's a really important concept, but there's a part of that that a lot of people get wrong. And a lot of people, what they do is they create a blue ocean, but it doesn't come from any existing demand. And so the way I want you guys to think about this is, and I'll give you our business as an example, is there existing demand for people wanting to get booked on podcasts? Yes. And if you look in that marketplace, there are a heck of a lot of sellers in that marketplace. It is a red ocean. There are VA agencies, there's people in India, there's lots of different companies, there's PR companies. There are a lot of sellers in that marketplace, and that's a really good indicator that there is existing demand, right? Like if you go into a quiet town and you notice that there are no restaurants in that town, or there are no bars in that town, or there are no nightclubs in that town, it's an indicator that there isn't demand for that business or service. Whereas on the flip side, if you go into a busy city center and there's a restaurant on every corner and there's bars on every corner and there's clubs on every corner, it's a pretty good indicator that there is demand for those businesses. And so one of the best things that you can think about when it comes to making sure that your offer is going to do well in the marketplace, and this is really for folks who are doing sub $10,000 or $20,000 a month in the business, because at that point, you've usually not quite nailed the offer in the outcome that you're promising isn't quite aligned with the marketplace. And so one of the things that I want you guys to really think about when you're looking at your offers is to really, really focus in and zone in on getting clear on an outcome that there is existing demand for. And I'm going to give you sort of a breakdown of this based on a conversation I had with one of my clients and sort of help you see this process. And I'm going to give you a little bit of a framework to be able to identify and get this really figured out. All right, so let's break this down in a little bit more detail. So what we want to do is be able to find demand and channel it. So a little bit like I said, what we're looking for is we're looking for a red ocean. We're looking for a marketplace that has sellers inside of it, actively selling the outcome you want to sell. So an example for this would be, let's say there is a business and they sell Facebook advertising, right? This is definitely a red ocean. There's a lot of people that sell it. Now you could create a blue ocean from this, right? You could say, I'm doing Facebook advertising, right, for Shopify sellers to help them increase CRO, conversion rate optimization, on their top products and run 10 times the traffic to those pages, right? So this became a much more specific offer because we focused in on a specific type of customer, right? It was a specific type of customer. It was a specific problem that we're focusing on solving, CRO, and then a clear outcome is basically more sales from running, right, 10 times the traffic. So I always really like to first identify, okay, what is something that there is existing demand for that you can channel? As a business, the best analogy of this is the hot dog analogy, right? If you sell shitty hot dogs, right, but you just happen to be placed outside the Yankees stadium, right, at the end of the game, you could sell shitty hot dogs. You could sell them at 5 times the average price, right? You could literally sell $20 hot dogs, right? And you place it outside the Yankee Stadium and you would make a lot of money, right? Why is that? Because there is a huge amount of existing demand, and what you're doing is you're channeling that demand. You're not going and creating that demand. You are just stepping in front of the demand that already exists. On the contrarian side of things, let's say you make really good artisan hot dogs and you sell them at a really reasonable price, but you happen to be in front of a farmer's market that there's only 50 people that attend it every week. It doesn't matter how good the hot dogs are. It doesn't matter how well priced they are. You just don't have any existing demand. And what a lot of people try and do in that situation is they try and market and they try and do advertising. They're like, how can I get more people to come to this farmer's market to, buy more of my hot dogs? When in reality, the smarter play is to say, well, how do I just go and get in front of more existing demand rather than trying to create that demand that exists? So I hope this makes sense. So the reason I'm sharing this with you is for a lot of you guys, what you need to get aligned is the outcome you sell in your offers. And what I mean by this is that we are looking to specifically have an outcome that people already want, right? We are looking for something that is already being sold. So step number 1, what we want to do is we want to figure out the best outcome that you can deliver on that people are actively seeking to buy. And you almost want to look at this separately from you. Like you almost want to say, let's just forget what I do for a second. And let's take a look at my marketplace for the customers that I want to sell to and figure out, what are they buying? Like, what are they looking for? What solutions are they already paying money for? And so you want to get as closely aligned to that outcome as you possibly can. So step 1 is just figure out, what is everybody already buying? And step number 2 is that we want to figure out how we can position our offer and tap into that outcome. And so the way that we do this with our clients is that, once we figure out the outcome, we then, kind of like I did above with the Shopify sellers, we try and say, okay, if this is the outcome, right, that I want to deliver, clear outcome, I want to help people find, the love of their life, right? Let's say that's the outcome. We're then going to focus in on, okay, who's the specific person, and what problem is it that we're actually solving, and what's the unique way in which we can solve this. I originally learned this framework from Cole Gordon. This was great for helping me to really articulate this with people. So clear outcome, okay, I want to help people find the love of their life. Specific person, well, actually, I don't just want to work with anybody. I don't want to work with stay-at-home moms, for example. I want to work with a richer market who can afford to pay me $5,000 or $10,000 in coaching. So I'm going to focus on, high-achieving women, right? And then when I look at those high-achieving women and I say, okay, what problem am I solving? A lot of them, if they're high-achieving women and they're trying to find partners, right, what they're running into is a lot of toxic relationships, a lot of situationships. They're running into, not healthy, people or behaviors. And the reality is all of this starts with them, but this is what they are experiencing as a pain point. This is what they are communicating. I keep having these toxic relationships. I keep having these terrible situationships. And maybe the unique way in which you heal it will depend on you, and this is how you make it specific to you and your industry. But, you maybe do this with inner child healing, right? Maybe you do this with ancestral, trauma therapy, right? There's lots of different ways that you can spin this, but you just need to have some kind of unique way in which you solve it. And so we start off by picking the outcome that is already being sold. and then we focus in on a specific person, we focus in on the specific problem, we name the problem that those specific people are experiencing in pursuit of this outcome, and then we solve it in a unique way. And this is how we want to package our offer to make it really stand out from the competition, but really be solving a problem that there is already existing demand for. Now, step number 2, once we have the outcome really clear, that's where we want to start getting momentum and tapping into that outcome and getting people to book calls and buying. So the way that we do this with all of our clients is that we get them to send 14 days of offer emails. We call them direct offer emails. And so these are emails that literally say, hey, if you're this person and you have this problem and you want this outcome in X days, apply here and book a call, right? And we can help you. And you literally will send an email like that for 10 or 14 days in a row. Most people have never made a direct offer, let alone one every day for 2 weeks. And so what this does is it helps us to test the offer. It helps us to test the outcome. It helps us to test if people are actually interested in what we do. And a caveat of this is, you also want to make sure that you have good deliverability, right? One of the things that we test with new clients when we enroll them is we get them to do 3 to 4 days of warm-up emails just to make sure that their deliverability is okay. It's to prepare, the audience that you're about to email them, every day. And it's also just, to make sure that we don't end up with a blacklisted email address if you don't have, things like that. So that's a little caveat that you do want to consider, just before you go out and do this, because the last thing I'd want you to do is go out and send all these emails and be like, oh, Jamie, I'm now in the spam filter and I'm having really big problems, right? So caveat is you want to have, good deliverability before you go out and test an offer. Now, what's really cool about this is that when you do this, very quickly you figure out if people want that offer or not. And another caveat here is that you probably need to have maybe 1,000 people on your email list. You could probably get away with less people on your email list to test this, but this is a pretty good benchmark. If you've got 1,000 people on your list and you send them 14 days of direct offers, and your deliverability is good, you're getting over 25% open rates, you can tell pretty quickly whether people want this offer or not based on if they're booking calls and if they're buying. So really, we just want to stay in step 2 till we get the offer right. Because if it doesn't work in step 2, there's no point us moving on to try and make the marketing better, because the core product, the core outcome we're promising to solve isn't resonating. So this is really important. We want to fix this before we really move on. So step 1, tap into the outcome that people are already trying to buy and make it unique for your business by naming that clear outcome, focusing on a specific person you can help, knowing what specific problems you're solving for them, and listing the unique way in which you solve this. For example, our clear outcome, we get you booked on podcasts so you can get more customers. Specific person, we work with businesses doing between $10,000 and $50,000 a month, sometimes all the way up to $1 million a year in revenue. What problem? They're not booking enough leads and they're not closing enough sales calls, right? Unique way that we solve this, we have an inbound source of podcasts that are coming to us every single day. So rather than going outbound and pitching people who don't want to have you on the show, we've got podcasters coming to us saying, we want the best guests, we connect the two of you, and that's why we have a 65% booking rate and everybody else has sub 1% booking rates. So just figuring out this piece and testing it with a list, or testing it with customers that you can offer it to, is super key, and you can fix most offer issues quick, within like 2 to 4 weeks a lot of the time. Now, step 3, once you've figured out the offer, that's when you go double down on fixing the marketing and fixing any of the challenges in the business. But before you try and book more calls and fix the marketing system, go get booked on podcasts, all of that kind of stuff, this is the very first thing that we'll do for most people if they're not already at 10, 15, 20K a month, because most of the time the thing stopping you getting to the next level isn't the marketing systems per se. It's just the thing that you're offering is either not clear or not desirable. And really that's where we start. So just to recap, our whole goal here is that we want to have a clear and desirable offer. And the best way to find a clear and desirable offer is to tap into an existing channel, an existing market. We don't want to create demand. We want to tap into it. And when we do that, and we tap into that existing demand, that's when very, very quickly we're able to get an offer that takes off. So I hope this is valuable. If you enjoyed this, please feel free to subscribe to these videos. You can like them. And if you want more help with us, go down into the description. You can either join our free Facebook group or book in for a call with our team. We'll see if we can help you solve these problems for yourself. All right. Have a great day. See you soon.